that's not the kind of YouTuber that I am. I'm not a know person. I'm a feel person. I'm a talk person. I'm a share person. I wish I was a share person.
And I can turn back down.
Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. So today I want to have just a little discussion about adult acne and not just necessarily hormonal acne, but like, how do we deal with it? This is not something that I ever had as a kid. Like I've talked so much about this, but I had acne on my chest, my arms, my back. I was on medication for that because it was like really, it was like a rash, really everywhere. So I was taking like at one point 8 pills a day to try and clear my skin. But on my face, it was never really worse when I was a kid than it is now. It was like an occasional breakout that would become like, oh, you've got like one annoying spot or like a little cluster of something. But never anything that I would say was acne. You know, little bits here and there, but kind of just regular breakouts. So I've never really suffered with anything like that. My daughter has. I've seen her struggle with it. I've seen the products that she's used. She's fantastic with skincare. She's like really hot on all of the ingredients that are fantastic specifically for her skin. Stays away from a lot of things. But I've never really had to worry about those things until very, very recently. And honestly, I wish I'd taken pictures because the past couple of weeks, I've not really wanted to film. Most of the reason, because as you guys know, you know, I'll come on camera looking like whatever. That doesn't bother me. But the thing that was kind of stopping me is a lot of what I talk about here is beauty recommendations. And I didn't want to tell you anything because I didn't know what was causing the problem. I mean, it started on this side. This kind of like died down and kind of pretty much went away. And then it was this side, which this is kind of still going away now. But it was the texture of my skin changed. This is the main fact that makes it different to the other breakouts that I've had. The texture changed. It was lots and lots and lots, and then some quite significant actual like eruptions, then some cystic stuff. It was really bizarre, and I kind of got to the point where I thought, well, I don't really know what else to use. I've tried everything.
You've got to help us, Doc. We've tried nothing and we're all out of ideas.
And then my skin was really dry because obviously I've used all of the aggressive kind of drying stuff to try and get rid of it. Everything's really astringent. And so I decided to just strip back everything, stop using everything and just cleanse, and I would use an oil. And the oil that I pulled out for this was the Boots Rescue Skin Oil. I had not purchased this for this purpose. I bought this last year this is going to sound absolutely mad, but I was being served a lot of adverts at the time about C-section scar. I've got a C-section scar, but it's quite the scar tissue on the inside. You can really feel still, and it's quite tender. My son's nearly going to be 12. So anyway, last year I was reading about this, and it seemed to be that you could potentially reduce that and try to help heal the scar tissue on the inside even years and years later. So I bought this to facilitate that kind of like massage situation around my C-section. Didn't really keep up with it. Nobody was surprised, not even me. But I still had this in my bedside drawer. So I thought, well, I'm going to put this on. I was never a massive, massive fan of bio oil, but this is Boots' own version, and I just thought I'll throw it on and see what happens. It says it's specially formulated to help improve the appearance of scars, stretch marks, and uneven skin tone. But really, it was just that I had no regular facial oil left available to use. Otherwise, I probably would have pulled that instead. Overnight, this stuff was incredible. It completely changed my skin texture, smoothed everything back to what I would consider to be relatively normal with a normal breakout, made everything that was dry, hydrated. I can't understand. And then I was obsessed. And then for like a week, all I used was I washed my face, I used this oil. I wash my face, I use this oil. Night and day. Face washed, use the oil. And now I feel like I've come out of the side of this actually doing its job, and it's working against me again, because now I feel like I'm getting breakouts in different areas and I have no idea what's going on. At the time that this all kind of came to be, I was using a lot of different things, and one of the things that I was using, or two of the things, were some CC creams that I was reviewing for you guys. So that's why I've not actually come to make that video yet. I've got lots and lots of clips. And I just, until I know that neither of those two products were, especially because it started on one side of my face and then because I was actually using them on different sides of my face. So I'm in the back of my mind, I'm like, was it that? I don't know. Another thing I'm kind of concerned about, was it this, is the DHC Deep Cleansing Oil. Because I used this around the same time and I've read, although I know that this is supposed to be fantastic for people with acne, I've also read since then that it can cause acne or at least breakouts in some people as well. I don't know. So at this point, I'm kind of at a loss as to what it was, but I'm a little bit nervous about recommending anything that I've been enjoying recently as like a new thing, because what if that's the thing? And I don't want to do that to you guys. So instead, I thought what I'd do is just kind of talk a little bit about some of the products that I have used over the past couple of weeks that I have found have been really, really useful, although none of them are absolute lifesavers. I mean, this was really high up there, but none of them are like, this fixed the entire problem, but they all had their part to play. First and foremost, the ordinary niacinamide. I don't like this for kind of day-to-day use. I love niacinamide, you know, the Primark niacinamides, my favourite. But the ordinary one is a little bit too harsh. It's a little bit too drying. This I reserve for breakout times. It did make my skin very dry, but it did also really diminish a lot of stuff. If you're not into that, if you are going to try to avoid the astringent stuff, if you, for example, don't work from home like me, you have to be out in the world and you don't want your skin sloughing off in sheets, may I recommend blemish stickers? My daughter gave me some. I will link the ones that she gave me below because I think they were really, really good. And I think they're relatively inexpensive compared to some of the ones that you can get, but I haven't got them now because I used them all up. And then I bought this. And the reason I bought this, I think I mentioned this in a previous video, is that I kept losing the other ones because they were clear. They were a sheet of clear, it was a clear sheet with clear things on it. And I kept losing them. It was driving me crazy. So I saw this in Boots and thought, well, even if I don't like the product itself, I'm going to refill it with ones that I do like because I'm not going to lose this, hopefully. I mean, it's very possible, but I thought it's less likely to happen. So these are Starface Hydro Stars, and there are 32 stars in here. They are adorable. It comes with a little mirror inside as well. And then you've got your little whatchamacallits. They look like this. I'll show you. They look like this. And then you peel them off and you stick them on your face. And they're supposed to just like, you know, do the good stuff. It's supposed to heal the spot. Now, I was reading about the different kinds of blemish patches that you can get. Some of them have, I'm trying to remember what they're called, like micro dots. They're like teeny tiny, almost like needles, as I understand it, that kind of like, again, this could be a complete lie, so please don't take this as gospel. This is how I understood that it worked. Almost like, if you will, tiny little things that prick themselves into your skin. Not in a painful way, but that micro dots. That's how I understood it. That might not be true. I'm just explaining the inner workings of my mind. Microdots. They're onto your skin and they can like do something different apparently. They can work with cystic acne. Something like this, it needs to be like an active, like a whitehead or something. And some others need to be popped. I'm not a skin picker. Thank goodness. So I'm not a pimple popper, I'm not a blackhead squeezer, none of that. So if I can stick a sticker on my face at the first sign of something erupting, I'm all over it. Pixie have literally just sent me these. I opened a package downstairs and thought, do you know what I'll make a video about? So I can't tell you anything about these. I've never tried them, but, oh, they're cute. But this is what those look like from them. This is basically just a standard sheet of spot patches. This is what they all look like. If you've never used them before, get some, because they're actually kind of fantastic. Obviously the star ones are really obvious, but most of them are like a matte clear, and especially if you work from home and you're just on Zoom calls, no one's going to know that you've got them on your face. What else did I want to talk about? I feel like there was one other product. It wasn't in front of me, it was over there, next to my desk. This, CAUDALIE Beauty Elixir. I mean, I originally bought this for the nostalgia. that scent takes me back. I know that scent does this, but it transports me to like 2012. It's magic. Like I am somewhere else when I smell this smell. This is the reason that I purchased it originally. And way back when this became uber famous, it was because Victoria Beckham said that it helped to keep her skin clear and her oil at bay. I know that for some people this is really drying. For some people it has adverse effects. I wasn't using this regularly when I was like erupting all over the place.
That's what she said.
So I know that this wasn't to blame, but I am enjoying this because I'm not wearing a lot of makeup during the day. I'm not wearing any makeup during the day. I'm just like sitting at my desk. I'm spritzing this throughout the day. Number one, the smell. Amaze. But also it kind of makes it feel like it's hydrating, but also maybe like, I don't know what it is about this that makes it feel like an antiseptic. But in my mind, I'm like, when I spritz this, I'm cleaning my skin and I'm hydrating at the same time. And I'm certain neither of those things are happening, but that's like special marketing. But I've been really enjoying it. I can't tell you why. I've been really enjoying it because it's a placebo. Truth. I think a lot of stuff, that's a lot of it, isn't it? I was talking to my friend yesterday and we were both agreeing, if you have something, whatever it might be, I think we were talking about ear piercings and then we went off on a tangent, about certain piercings are supposed to be good for headaches and migraines, because I suffer quite badly with that kind of thing. And we both agreed that even if it didn't work, but you believed that it worked, isn't that the same thing? You know? Sometimes you just have to believe. And especially when it comes to skin stuff, really sometimes the thing is leaving it alone. The thing is, let's just pare all of this back and just stop. And so if you can do some really simple things to make yourself feel like you're doing something when you're not actually messing with your face, maybe that actually does do something. I don't know. The main purpose of this video, really the main purpose of this video was to talk about this oil because magical. It really did do, overnight, it made a huge difference to all of the dryness. And I swear it reduced the size of the breakouts. I don't even think that I told you. I haven't had any coffee today. I've barely spoken to anyone, so I don't know why I'm so energized. I don't even think I mentioned whether or not the spot things did anything. They do. They're not like, oh my God, this is incredible. When I take it off, the spot's not there. They shrink the spot, but they're not like miracle workers. In my experience, I will be trying more, for sure. But I think quite possibly the Starface ones are not as good as the ones that my daughter gave me, that I will link for you below. The thing that really did make the most difference was the oil. But I always used to think that the Elizabeth Arden, I had an Elizabeth Arden spray oil, and when I used to get breakouts, I would put that on, and that used to reduce as well. And there is a school of thought that says the more oil you put on your face, the less your skin needs to produce oil, and so you don't get more breakouts. Whereas if you strip it of all of the oil, then it goes haywire, overproducing oil, and then you get more breakouts. I know. I don't know is the thing. I don't know. That's not the kind of YouTuber that I am. I'm not a know person. I'm a feel person. I'm a talk person. I'm a share person. I wish I was a share person. But I'm not a know person. I'm not an expert. I'm not the person that you come to for answers. I am the person that you come to for theoretical conversation about what if this did this thing? Wouldn't that be great? So yeah, I realise how useless this has been, but hopefully one of you was watching this while washing up or cleaning or going to sleep, and it helped you pass some time, because It was fairly pointless otherwise. Also, yes, it could be medication. Also, have you been watching Vanderpump Rules? That's for another time. It's all I can think about.